Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Tonight, we're stepping into the astonishing world of spiders. They live in deserts, forests, caves, gardens, and corners of our homes. They drift through the sky on strands of silk. They build traps from threads finer than hair. They hunt with patience, speed, precision, and senses so strange they can seem almost unreal. Some dance. Some dive underwater. Some vanish into flowers. Some can even feel the world through the trembling of a web. The more closely we look, the more surprising they become. These are not just small creatures with many legs. They are engineers, acrobats, chemists, architects, and survivors from a world far older than our own. Their silk can outperform materials we struggle to copy. Their eyesight can be astonishing. Their strategies can feel almost impossible for something so small. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is relax. Let your shoulders soften and allow your eyes to grow heavy. Let your thoughts ease as we explore this fascinating world. Let's begin. Spiders can spin silk that is stronger than steel by weight. That sounds impossible until you remember how little material a spider has to work with. From a body small enough to hide on a windowsill, it produces a fiber that can absorb extraordinary force without snapping. Engineers study it because it combines strength with flexibility, which is a rare pairing. Steel can be strong, but steel is heavy and unforgiving. Spider silk bends, stretches, and keeps holding on. A strand can stop a flying insect that hits like a thrown pebble at full speed, and it does so with thread finer than a human hair. The real wonder is that the spider makes it at room temperature from liquid proteins, using no furnace and no factory. Nature solved a materials problem humans still struggle to copy. Every web glinting in morning light is not just beautiful. It is a masterpiece of microscopic engineering, spun fresh from a living body. Some spiders can fly for miles without ever flapping a wing. They do it with silk, sunlight, and the invisible structure of the air. A small spider climbs to a high point, raises its abdomen, and releases fine threads that catch the atmosphere like tiny sails. For a long time, people imagined the wind alone carried them, but the truth is stranger. Electric fields in the air may help lift the silk upward, giving these travelers an extra push into the sky. Once aloft, they can drift across fields, rivers, and even open sea. Sailors have reported landing spiders far from shore, arriving where no web or branch could possibly reach. It means a spider hatched in one hedgerow may end the day on a distant island or mountain slope. For such a tiny animal, the world is not made of roads or paths. It is made of rising currents, hidden forces, and long silk highways suspended above us. There are spiders on every continent except Antarctica. That tells you something important right away. This is not a narrow little group tucked into one kind of habitat. Spiders have managed to settle almost everywhere life can get a foothold. They wait in tropical forests, stalk across desert dunes, hide under bark in temperate woods, and survive in mountain regions where nights can turn bitterly cold. Some live in caves. Some live beside streams. Some thrive in cities so well that people share rooms with them for years without noticing. Their success comes from flexibility. They do not all hunt the same way, build the same homes, or eat the same prey. Evolution turned them into hundreds of different solutions to the same challenge, which is how to stay small and still dominate. Only Antarctica has pushed them out entirely. Everywhere else, the eight-legged experiment worked. The world is full of spiders because spiders became one of nature's most adaptable designs. A spider's web can hear sounds through the vibrations of its threads, not with ears and not in the way we do, but with astonishing sensitivity. A web is more than a trap hanging in space. It is an instrument under tension, ready to pick up the faintest movement carried through air or silk. When a sound wave passes nearby, the threads quiver. A spider resting at the center or edge can feel those tremors through its legs and body, then sort them into meaning. One pattern may signal prey. Another may reveal danger. Another may belong to a potential mate. Researchers have shown that some spiders respond to sounds from a distance by crouching, turning, or moving before anything has touched the web at all. That means the whole structure acts like an extended sensory system, enlarging the spider's perception far beyond its own body. A web hanging silently in a corner is not passive. It is listening to the room like a living net of nerves. Some spiders can regrow lost legs after surviving an attack. For many animals, losing a limb is the end of the story. For a young spider, it may be the beginning of recovery. If a predator grabs a leg, the spider can sometimes shed it and escape, sacrificing a part to save the whole. Then, after the next molt, a replacement begins to emerge. It may start smaller and shorter than the others, but with later molts, it can become more functional and better proportioned. That ability matters in a life full of near misses. A hunting spider needs speed, balance, and control. A web builder depends on precise movement across silk. Regrowth gives a second chance in a world where one mistake is often fatal. It also reveals how dynamic a spider's body really is during development. These animals are not locked into a single form. While they are growing, they can rebuild. Survival for a spider is not always about avoiding damage. Sometimes it is about recovering from it. The oldest known spiders lived before the first dinosaurs appeared. That places them in a world so ancient it barely resembles the Earth we know. Long before giant reptiles thundered across the land, spider ancestors were already part of terrestrial life, moving through early forests and primitive landscapes. The planet itself was different. Continents were arranged in unfamiliar shapes. Plants were spreading in forms unlike modern woodlands. Insects were diversifying, opening the door for predators that could follow them onto land. Spiders arrived as part of that deep revolution. They were among the early animals to turn dry ground into a place where complex hunting could happen. Fossils and ancient relatives show that the spider story reaches back hundreds of millions of years. That means they survived planetary upheavals, climate shifts, and mass extinctions that erased countless other lineages. When you see one paused in the doorway or tucked beneath a leaf, you are not looking at something modern and trivial. You are looking at an ancient survivor from a lineage older than dinosaurs. Some spiders build traps so fast, prey barely knows what happened. Speed matters when your meal can fly. Many web-building spiders do not simply throw threads around at random. They follow astonishingly efficient routines, laying frame lines, support lines, and spirals in a sequence that can turn open space into a functioning trap in a short stretch of time. An orb web may appear overnight between branches where nothing stood the evening before. By dawn, it is already tuned for impact. The spider has chosen anchor points, adjusted tension, and arranged the sticky capture spiral so that an insect arriving at speed will be slowed, held, and read through vibration almost instantly. Some species can also rush out and wrap prey with breathtaking quickness, pinning wings and legs before the struggle gathers force. To us, the web can look delicate and still. In practice, it is fast architecture, built by an animal that understands timing better than many larger hunters ever need to. Spider silk begins as liquid and turns solid in an instant. Inside a spider, silk is not stored as thread on a spool. It begins as a dense liquid, packed with proteins and special glands, waiting for the moment it is needed. When the spider draws that material through tiny spinning organs, the chemistry changes fast. Pressure shifts. Water is removed. The proteins line up and lock together. What leaves the body is no longer liquid at all, but a finished fiber ready to work immediately. That transformation happens without roaring machines, extreme heat, or any workshop larger than the spider itself. It is a living manufacturing system, small enough to fit in a creature many people overlook. Scientists study it with real envy because humans still struggle to make fibers that strong, light, and efficient under such mild conditions. A spider does not need a factory to produce advanced material. It carries the entire process inside its own body, then spins it into the world on demand. Not every spider spins a web to catch its dinner. The classic image is the spider in the middle of a web, waiting for something to blunder into silk. That is only one path. Many species gave up the passive trap entirely and turned into active hunters. Wolf spiders run prey down across soil and leaf litter. Jumping spiders stalk with startling control, then launch from a distance with perfect timing. Crab spiders wait inside flowers and seize insects at close range. Some even raid other webs, stealing meals or attacking the owner. This matters because it shows how flexible spiders became over time. Silk is still useful, but it does not always have to become a snare hanging in the air. It can line a retreat, protect eggs, or serve as a safety line while a hunter explores. The spider world is not built around one method. It is full of different hunting styles, each shaped by habitat, body design, and opportunity. Webs are famous, but they are only part of the story. A few spiders hunt with strategy, patience, and almost cat-like precision. Watch a jumping spider stalk, and the comparison starts to feel earned. It does not wander mindlessly until it bumps into food. It watches. It shifts position. It creeps forward, stops, then circles for a better angle. If the direct route is poor, it may detour across leaves or stems, briefly losing sight of the target while moving toward a place that offers a cleaner attack. That is what fascinates scientists most. Some spiders appear able to plan beyond the immediate moment, holding a target in mind while taking an indirect path. Then comes the final launch, powered by hydraulics inside the legs and guided by exact depth perception. The strike is sudden, but the thinking before it can be surprisingly measured. In an animal with a brain tiny enough to fit on a fingertip, that kind of behavior feels almost magical. It reminds us that intelligence does not always arrive in a large body. Wolf spiders carry their babies on their backs for days. It is one of the most startling scenes in the spider world. A mother moves across the ground, and at first she looks ordinary. Then the light shifts, and you realize her body is covered with tiny spiderlings riding on her back like a living cloak. After the eggs hatch, the young climb aboard and stay there while she continues hunting and moving through the world. For days, she carries them over soil, stones, and fallen leaves, giving them transport and protection during one of the most vulnerable stages of life. It makes her look larger, rougher, almost transformed, as if she has become a moving nursery. This is not a careless creature scattering young and leaving them to chance. It is active care, visible and direct. In a group often imagined as cold or mechanical, that kind of maternal behavior can feel almost shocking. The image stays with you because it reveals a tenderness most people never expect from a spider. peacock spiders raise colorful fans and dance to win a mate. These spiders are tiny, but their performances are outrageous. The males carry brilliantly colored flaps on the abdomen, often glowing with reds, blues, oranges, and iridescent patterns that seem far too bold for such a small animal. When a female is nearby, the male lifts those flaps like a fan, raises his legs, and begins a display that is part dance, part signal, and part gamble. He waves, vibrates, sidesteps, and flashes color in a sequence that must be delivered just right. If the performance impresses her, he may survive and mate. If it fails, he can be ignored or attacked. That danger makes the whole display more dramatic. This is not beauty for our benefit. It is a high-stakes language built from movement and color, shaped by selection over generations. On a scale smaller than your fingernail, a full courtship show unfolds with all the tension of theater. Tiny body, enormous spectacle. Trapdoor spiders build hinged homes that disappear into the ground. At the edge of a path or hidden in bare soil, there may be a door so perfectly made that you can stare straight at it and still miss it. Trapdoor spiders dig burrows and line them with silk, then build a fitted lid from earth, plant fragments, and webbing. Closed, it blends so well with the surroundings that it becomes almost invisible. Beneath that lid waits the spider, tucked inside a narrow shaft with its front legs poised near the entrance. When something passes close enough, the door bursts open and the attack is immediate. Then everything vanishes again, prey and hunter pulled underground in a second. It feels less like ordinary hunting and more like a disappearing act. These burrows can last for years, becoming fortified homes that offer safety from weather, predators, and heat. The spider is both mason and ambush predator, building a hidden chamber in the earth and turning it into a machine for surprise. Some orb webs are rebuilt from scratch almost every single night. A web can look like a finished home, something meant to last. For many orb weavers, it is closer to a daily project that begins again and again. By morning, the structure may already be damaged, dusty, or stripped of its stickiness by wind, pollen, and failed impacts. So the spider takes it down, often consuming much of the silk, and begins fresh when conditions are right. New anchor lines go out. The frame is tested. Radial lines are laid. Then the capture spiral is added in widening circles until the whole geometry hangs in place. This repeated labor reveals how important precision is. A worn trap is not good enough. The spider would rather recycle, rebuild, and restore the system than trust an aging web with the next meal. There is something remarkable in that routine. Night after night, a creature with no blueprint in its hands remakes a perfect wheel of silk in the dark. A spider's 8 legs move with hydraulic pressure, not muscle alone. That strange truth explains part of their distinctive movement. A spider does have muscles that pull the legs inward, but extending certain leg joints works differently. Instead of relying only on opposing muscles, the spider uses pressure from body fluid to push the legs outward. In effect, the animal operates part of its own body, like a tiny hydraulic machine. That is why a dead spider often curls inward. The fluid pressure is gone, so the flexing muscles dominate and the legs fold up. In life, though, that hydraulic system helps create quick, precise extension during walking, climbing, and lunging. It is an elegant solution to a structural problem, especially in such a compact body. Once you know it, every spider step feels more uncanny. Those legs are not moving the way mammal limbs move. They are powered by an internal pressure system that turns the whole creature into a living mechanism of fluid, force, and delicate control. Many spiders taste the world through sensitive hairs on their legs. A spider does not need to put food in its mouth to begin reading it. Its body is lined with sensory structures, and some of the most important sit on the legs and feet. When the spider touches a surface, chemicals can be detected there almost immediately. That means a strand of silk, a leaf, or a patch of bark may already be offering information before the animal commits to anything. It can help identify prey, recognize traces left by another spider, and judge whether a location is familiar, promising, or risky. To us, taste belongs inside the mouth. For a spider, the boundary between tasting and touching is much blurrier. The whole act of walking becomes a kind of investigation. Every step samples the environment. Every contact gathers detail. This gives the spider a different relationship with the world from ours. It is not simply crossing a surface. It is reading it chemically, one light touch at a time. Some spiders fish at the water's edge for small aquatic prey. The edge of a pond or stream is not just a boundary between worlds. For certain spiders, it is a hunting ground full of opportunity. They wait on stones, floating plants, or shoreline debris with legs spread wide enough to feel the slightest ripple. A struggling insect, a tiny tadpole, or a small fish breaking the surface can send out vibrations that travel through the water. The spider detects that disturbance and reacts with startling speed, grabbing prey from a realm many people assume is beyond its reach. This is not ordinary insect hunting in a new setting. It requires sensitivity to waves, exact timing, and the nerve to strike at moving targets in an unstable medium. Some species can even move across the surface film itself, using that delicate tension as a platform. The result feels almost improbable. A spider at the bank becomes a fisherman, turning the shimmer of water into a field of signals and sudden attack. The diving bell spider lives nearly its whole life underwater. Most spiders avoid water or survive it briefly. This species moved in. It lives in ponds and slow waters, where it builds a silken chamber among submerged plants. That chamber is the diving bell, and it functions like an underwater air room. The spider swims to the surface, traps air against its body, then carries the bubble down and releases it into the bell. Trip after trip, the chamber grows until it holds enough air for resting, feeding, mating, and guarding eggs. Inside that hidden dome, the spider lives in a world that feels almost impossible, suspended beneath the surface, yet still breathing the atmosphere above. The bell also exchanges gases with the surrounding water, which helps keep it usable longer than a simple trapped bubble should allow. It is one of the strangest homes in the animal kingdom. A spider built a private diving chamber, then turned a pond into an underwater neighborhood. Bolus spiders hunt by swinging a sticky thread like a lasso. Most web hunters build broad traps and wait. Bolus spiders take a far stranger route. The female releases chemicals that mimic the scent of a female moth, drawing male moths toward her in search of a mate that is not there. As one approaches, she hangs from a line and swings a short thread tipped with a sticky droplet. It is not a web in the usual sense. It is a weapon, swung with timing that has to be exactly right. If the moth comes close enough, the droplet sticks and the spider reels the victim in. This is hunting built from deception, chemistry, and remarkable control. The prey is not just caught by chance. It is lured into range, then struck with a targeted cast. The whole performance is so specialized that it feels like something borrowed from folklore. Yet it is real, happening at night in gardens and woods while most of the world sleeps. Spitting spiders can spray silk and venom in the same strike. Imagine facing prey and, instead of biting first, firing a fast zigzag blast that glues the victim down and poisons it at the same time. That is the method of the spitting spider. From glands in the head, it ejects a sticky mixture in rapid oscillating streams, laying down a tangled pattern over the target before moving in closer. The effect is like being pinned by a sudden net that arrives through the air instead of waiting in space. This strategy lets the spider keep a safer distance from struggling prey, which matters when the prey might bite, sting, or simply fight back hard enough to cause injury. It is a reminder that spiders do not all rely on the same basic toolkit. Some evolved methods so unusual, they seem almost invented. A tiny hunter that can aim, project, and immobilize before contact turns a close encounter into a controlled takedown from just beyond reach. Crab spiders can ambush pollinators while hiding inside flowers. A flower can look like a place of safety, bright with nectar and open to the sun. For a crab spider, it can become a perfect blind. These spiders sit still among petals with front legs spread wide, waiting for bees, flies, or butterflies to arrive. Some species match the color of the bloom so well that they seem to dissolve into white, yellow, or pink. Then the landing happens, and the stillness ends instantly. The spider grabs the visitor before it can lift away, turning a feeding stop into an ambush site. His hunting style is remarkable because it uses the prey's own confidence against it. Pollinators are coming for reward, not expecting a predator hidden at the center of the display. It also means the spider lives in a world of timing and disguise rather than pursuit. The flower is not just decoration. It becomes stage, camouflage, and weapon all at once for a hunter that barely has to move. Some spiders mimic ants so well that predators are fooled. Ants are not easy prey and not always attractive targets. They can bite, sting, swarm, and defend themselves with determination far beyond their size. For that reason, resembling an ant can be a very useful disguise. Certain spiders have evolved narrow bodies, dark coloration, and movement patterns that make them look startlingly ant-like at a glance. To birds, wasps, and other predators, that resemblance can be enough to trigger caution or disinterest. The disguise does not need to be perfect for humans. It only needs to be convincing within the fast decisions of the animals around them. This is one of the most fascinating forms of survival, because the spider is borrowing a reputation, not just a shape. It gains protection by wearing the outline of a creature many hunters would rather avoid. In the crowded miniature world of leaves and stems, looking dangerous can be almost as valuable as being dangerous. Ant-mimicking spiders even wave their front legs like false antennae. Shape alone is not always enough. Ants move in a distinctive way, bustling with quick stops, turns, and interactions that make them instantly recognizable. Some mimicking spiders take the performance further by lifting their front pair of legs and waving them ahead of the body, creating the impression of antennae. Since spiders do not actually have antennae, this is pure illusion built from posture and motion. The remaining legs handle the walking, while the raised pair completes the deception. It is a brilliant solution because predators often identify prey by movement as much as outline. A body that looks right but moves wrong may still give itself away. These spiders solve that problem by acting the part. What makes it so memorable is the oddness of the image. A spider is using its own limbs as props, almost like an actor wearing costume pieces, to become another animal long enough to stay alive. A few spiders decorate their webs with bright, mysterious zigzags. In some orb webs, a bold white pattern appears near the center, stitched into the design like a signature. It may look like a zipper, a cross, or a scribbled slash of silk. Scientists call these structures stabilimenta, and their purpose is still debated. They might make the web more visible to larger animals, which could help prevent destructive collisions from birds. They might attract prey by reflecting light in unusual ways. They might even help camouflage the spider resting among the lines. What makes them fascinating is not just the shape, but the fact that a spider is adding something beyond the basic trapping geometry. This is extra construction, a visible flourish whose meaning is not fully settled. The web stops being only a snare and starts to feel like a message. Even now, with all our study, these bright marks remain partly mysterious, hanging in the center of a trap, like a question written in silk. Some web patterns reflect ultraviolet light that insects cannot resist. To human eyes, a web may seem nearly invisible or faintly silver in sunlight. Many insects see a different world. Their vision reaches into ultraviolet, and certain silk patterns can reflect that light in ways that stand out strongly to them. This may help explain why some webs are so effective even when they appear obvious. What looks subtle to us can glow like a beacon to an insect brain tuned to signals we cannot see. In some cases, the reflection may resemble cues associated with open sky, flowers, or safe passage, which could guide flying prey toward disaster instead of away from it. That idea turns a web into more than a physical trap. It becomes a visual manipulation built for another sensory universe. The spider does not need to understand optics the way we do. Evolution shaped the effect through success. The result is a structure speaking in wavelengths most humans never notice at all. Spiders were among the first animals to conquer life on land. Long before forests reached modern complexity, before birds, mammals, or flowering plants existed, early arthropods were already pushing onto dry ground. Among them were the ancestors of spiders, helping establish a new kind of life away from the sea. That step was enormous. Land brought fresh air, open space, and untapped prey. But it also brought desiccation, unstable temperatures, and gravity acting without the support of water. To survive there, these early pioneers needed bodies that could breathe, move, sense, and reproduce in a radically different environment. Spiders became part of that ancient transition, joining the first wave of animals that transformed continents into living landscapes. Their success helped shape terrestrial ecosystems from the beginning, because predators change worlds as much as plants do. Once hunters arrived on land, the rules changed. Seeing spiders this way makes them feel less like household creatures and more like veterans of one of evolution's boldest invasions. Fossil spiders have been found trapped inside ancient amber. Amber is more than golden decoration. It is time made visible. When tree resin once flowed over bark and forest debris, small creatures could become trapped inside it. Over immense spans of time, that resin hardened and changed into amber, sealing its captives in astonishing detail. Spiders preserved this way can still show delicate legs, body shapes, and sometimes even traces of silk or posture. Looking into a piece of amber can feel like peering through a window into a vanished forest, where a spider's final movement was interrupted and then held for millions of years. These fossils matter because ordinary spider bodies are fragile and do not preserve easily in rock. Amber gives us rare snapshots of ancient lineages, behaviors, and environments. It lets us see not just that spiders existed long ago, but how they looked in life. Few fossils feel so intimate. The animal is gone, yet its presence still seems almost immediate. Some spiders can survive for months without eating a meal. For creatures built around catching small prey, that kind of endurance is extraordinary. A spider does not always live where food arrives on schedule. Weather changes. Insects vanish with the season. A burrow may stay empty. A web may hang untouched night after night. Instead of burning through energy recklessly, Many spiders are built for long periods of waiting. Their metabolism can slow, their activity can drop, and the body can stretch limited reserves across astonishing lengths of time. This patience is part of their success. They do not need constant feeding to remain in the game. A spider can hold its position through scarcity, ready for the first real opportunity. That changes the mood of the animal completely. It is not frantic. It is durable. It can live in a world where luck comes late. For a small predator, that level of restraint is almost unbelievable, and it helps explain why spiders persist in places where food is never guaranteed. A tarantula can live for decades if it avoids danger. For an animal many people imagine as short-lived and frantic, a tarantula can be astonishingly long-lived. In some species, females may survive for several decades, spending years in the same burrow or territory, growing slowly and waiting for the world to come to them. That longevity changes the whole feel of the creature. This is not a brief burst of life. It is patience made flesh. A tarantula may outlast pets, furniture, even parts of a human life, all while living close to the ground in silence. It survives not through speed or constant motion, but through caution, concealment, and endurance. Every molt is part of a long unfolding, not a rush toward a quick ending. Males usually live far less, especially once they begin wandering in search of mates. But a protected female can become something remarkable, a spider that turns time itself into an advantage and simply keeps going year after year. Female spiders are often much larger than the males. In some species, the difference is so dramatic it can look as if the pair belongs to two entirely separate animals. The female may sit broad-bodied and powerful in the web or burrow, while the male appears delicate, narrow, and almost toy-like beside her. That contrast comes from their very different jobs. The female often needs a larger body for producing eggs, defending territory, or handling large prey. The male, by contrast, is often built for travel, timing, and risk. He must find her, approach safely, and survive long enough to mate. In some spiders, that means agility matters more than size. The result is one of the strangest imbalances in the animal world. Romance becomes a meeting between unequal bodies with danger built into the scale of the encounter. It also changes how we picture spider life. Strength is not always distributed the way people expect, and in many species the true giant is the female. Some male spiders drum, tap, or pluck webs to flirt. Courtship for a spider is often less like a meeting and more like a coded performance delivered on the edge of disaster. A male approaching a female cannot simply rush in and hope for the best. If he feels too much like prey, the encounter may end badly. So many males announce themselves through vibration. They tap the surface beneath them, drum with their legs, or pluck the strands of a female's web in patterns that signal identity and intention. These are not random little movements. They are messages shaped by species, rhythm, and timing. A female may be able to tell from those patterns whether the visitor is suitable, strange, or dangerous. The whole exchange can feel like music played on silk, with every note carrying consequences. In a world where touch and vibration mean everything, romance becomes an act of careful communication, and the wrong signal can turn a suitor into a meal. Jumping spiders can see the moon with astonishingly sharp vision. For creatures so small, their eyesight is almost absurdly impressive. Most spiders rely heavily on vibration, but jumping spiders are visual hunters. Their large forward-facing eyes give them detailed sight that helps them judge distance, track moving prey, and navigate complex spaces with confidence. They do not simply lunge at whatever twitches nearby. They study, aim, and choose the moment. Some can recognize shapes and colors with a level of clarity rare among animals their size. That is why they can spot tiny prey, identify rivals, and perform elaborate courtship displays that depend on being seen. In experiments, they have shown responses to objects far away in ways that reveal just how capable those eyes are. When people say a jumping spider can seem curious, that impression comes partly from vision. It looks at the world in a focused, deliberate way. Behind that small face is a predator watching with remarkable precision. One tiny spider can release silk and vanish into the sky. It is one of the strangest departures in the animal world. No roar, no leap, no beating wings. Just a pause, a lift, and then disappearance. The spider reaches a tip of grass or fence post, tests the conditions, and sends out threads so fine they can be hard to see even in bright light. If the air is right, those threads pull taut and the animal lets go. Suddenly, it is airborne, rising fast enough to leave the ground behind in seconds. For the spider, this is not a trick. It is transport, escape, and exploration, all at once. Spiderlings use it to disperse from crowded hatching sites. Adults of smaller species use it too, sometimes after storms or habitat disturbance. The result is a creature that can abandon one patch of ground and trust the sky to decide the rest. Few animals its size make such a dramatic gamble. Fewer still survive because of it so often. Jumping spiders can recognize routes and plan surprising detours. That ability is one of the reasons they fascinate scientists so deeply. A jumping spider may spot prey from one position, then realize there is no direct path to it. Instead of giving up, it can move away from the target, disappear behind leaves or stems, and take a longer route that leads to a better attack point. To us, that may sound simple. For such a tiny predator, it is extraordinary. The spider seems able to hold the goal in mind while navigating an indirect path, almost as if it is picturing the problem before acting. In laboratory studies, some have chosen the correct route from several options, even when the direct line looked tempting but led nowhere useful. That makes the hunt feel less like a reflex and more like a decision. A creature smaller than a fingernail can pause, assess the scene, and make a tactical move that looks uncannily like planning. Their tiny brains can solve hunting problems with impressive efficiency. A spider does not have much room to work with. Its brain is minuscule, yet what it accomplishes with that limited hardware can be astonishing. Hunting demands quick interpretation of movement, distance, texture, vibration, and risk. For some species, especially active hunters, those signals have to be turned into action almost instantly. They do not waste energy on endless trial and error. They make fast, workable decisions with remarkable economy. That is what makes them so compelling. Their intelligence is not grand and reflective in the human sense. It is compact, sharp, and tightly matched to the problem at hand. A jumping spider can calculate a leap. A web spider can identify the difference between struggling prey and background noise. A burrow hunter can judge the perfect instant to strike. All of that comes from a nervous system tiny enough to vanish on a pinhead. Efficiency, not size, is what makes the system so extraordinary. Some spiders fake death when danger gets too close. Sometimes the best escape is to vanish without moving at all. Certain spiders respond to sudden threat by going limp, folding up, and becoming still enough to seem dead or uninteresting. To a predator that is triggered by movement, that shift can break the attack sequence at exactly the right moment. 1 second there is something alive and worth chasing. The next, there is a curled shape that may no longer seem worth the effort. This strategy is especially fascinating because it is so different from the image people usually have of spiders as creatures of constant alertness. Instead of running, biting, or dropping away on silk, the spider turns into an object. In the close, chaotic world of leaves, soil, and twigs, that can be enough. Predators make rapid choices, and rapid choices can be fooled. Survival here comes not from force, but from performance. The spider wins by convincing the enemy that the story is already over. Others shake their webs so violently they blur from sight. A spider sitting in the middle of a web could look exposed, almost easy to target. Some species answer that problem with a startling defense. When disturbed, they begin vibrating with such speed that both body and web become a trembling blur. To a predator, that can make the spider much harder to focus on or strike accurately. The web itself becomes part of the defense, amplifying the motion and turning the whole structure into a flickering confusion of silk and shadow. It is a clever response because it works in the exact place where the spider lives. There is no need to flee if the home can become a visual shield. Watching it happen is eerie. The spider seems to dissolve into motion, as if the center of the web has suddenly become unstable. In an instant, stillness becomes invisibility, and a creature that looked vulnerable becomes maddeningly hard to pin down. Net-casting spiders stretch a living net between their front legs. Most spiders either build a trap in advance or chase prey directly. Net-casting spiders combine both ideas in a way that feels wonderfully strange. They hang at night with a small rectangular mesh of silk held between their front legs, like a fisherman holding a hand net in the dark. Then they wait. When an insect passes below or nearby, the spider lunges and throws the net forward, stretching it over the prey in a single rapid motion. The silk expands on impact, helping the capture wrap and cling before the victim can escape. It is not passive architecture and not simple pursuit. It is an ambush performed with a tool the spider built itself and carries in its own hands. That image alone is enough to make these animals unforgettable. In darkness, a spider waits upside down with a custom net, then launches it at exactly the right instant, like a hunter from another world. Ogre-faced spiders can strike in darkness with eerie precision. Their name comes from the huge forward-facing eyes, which look oversized even by spider standards. Those eyes are not decoration. They are part of a night hunting system so effective that the spider can track prey in low light with extraordinary accuracy. By day, it may remain stretched along a twig, easy to miss. By night, it becomes a poised hunter, holding its capture net ready and reading the darkness with eyes built to gather the faintest available light. That alone would be impressive, but the strike is what makes it unforgettable. In a snap, the spider throws the net downward or forward and pins the victim before it understands what happened. The whole act is fast, controlled, and deeply uncanny. Most night predators rely heavily on smell or sound. This one stares into the dark with giant eyes and attacks with precision. It feels less like stumbling through darkness and more like mastering it. Some spiders use the Earth's electric field to take off. The air around us is not electrically neutral. The Earth and the atmosphere together create a natural electric field, and some spiders appear able to use it when they launch into the sky on silk. This idea sounds almost magical at first, yet experiments suggest the fine threads can respond to electric charge, rising and spreading in ways that help generate lift, even when obvious wind is weak. That means a spider on a fence post or blade of grass may be sensing more than breeze. It may be responding to an invisible force built into the planet itself. Once the silk begins to fan out, the spider can be pulled upward into the air and carried away. It is a breathtaking thought. A tiny creature with no wings can interact with the electrical structure of the atmosphere and turn that hidden energy into travel. The world above us is stranger than it looks, and spiders have learned how to use it. Ballooning spiders have been detected thousands of feet above ground. At that height, you expect birds, aircraft, clouds, maybe drifting seeds. Yet tiny spiders have been found astonishingly far above the landscape, carried aloft on silk into airspace that seems wildly out of scale with their bodies. This is one of the most mind-bending things about them. A spider that began the day on a hedge or garden post can end up riding atmospheric currents high enough to leave the ordinary world far below. Once there, it may travel long distances before descending into a completely new habitat. That helps explain how spiders can appear quickly in remote places, on islands, in fresh fields, or in disturbed landscapes that seem newly empty. They do not always crawl in step by step. Sometimes they arrive from the sky. The image is almost unbelievable. A minuscule animal drifting above the earth on threads too fine to see, turning the upper air into a migration route. A spider web can stretch, flex, and still survive strong impacts. That resilience is part of what makes silk so remarkable. A web is not meant to behave like a rigid fence. If it did, the first fast insect would tear straight through it. Instead, the structure gives way at exactly the right moments, stretching to absorb force and distributing energy through connected lines. The result is a trap that behaves more like a dynamic system than a fixed object. When prey hits, parts of the web bend and rebound, slowing the impact and helping keep the insect from bouncing free. This flexibility is one reason engineers study spider silk so closely. Strength alone does not explain a web's performance. It is the combination of toughness, elasticity, and clever design that makes the whole thing work. To the eye, a web can seem fragile enough to vanish in one touch. In practice, it is built to take a beating from flying bodies and still remain astonishingly functional. Silk from one species can serve entirely different jobs. To call silk just one material is a little misleading. Even within a single species, silk can be used for purposes so different it starts to feel like a toolkit rather than a thread. One kind may support the spider's weight. Another may form the frame of a web. Another may wrap prey, line a retreat, anchor eggs, or create a drag line for safety during a leap or fall. The wonder lies in the versatility. A spider is not simply producing fiber. It is producing function, shifting the role of silk according to the moment. That gives the animal enormous flexibility in how it moves, hunts, shelters, and reproduces. Few materials in nature are asked to do so many jobs in one life. Silk can be lifeline, nursery wall, bridge, scaffold, snare, or bandage-like wrapping in a single species. The spider carries all of that potential inside its body and draws it out exactly when needed. One spider may produce dragline silk, glue silk, and wrapping silk. That variety reveals just how specialized spider silk can be. Dragline silk is the dependable structural fiber used for support lines and safety threads strong enough to hold the spider if it drops. Glue silk belongs to the capture spiral in many webs, where sticky droplets help hold struggling prey in place. Wrapping silk does something different again, helping immobilize a victim quickly once the spider closes in. These are not just different uses forced onto the same fiber. They are distinct outputs shaped for distinct tasks. The spider's body is not a simple silk dispenser. It is a materials lab with multiple products, each tuned for a purpose. That makes every web or prey capture more impressive the longer you think about it. The spider is choosing among fibers, deploying them with precision, and building systems from them in real time. A small body is carrying a whole catalog of engineered threads. Spider glue works even when prey struggles with frantic force. A captured insect does not surrender politely. It kicks, twists, beats its wings, and throws energy into every direction at once. Yet the sticky droplets on capture silk are built for exactly that chaos. They are not like a blob of ordinary glue that hardens once and fails if stressed the wrong way. Spider adhesive is part of a system. The droplets can stretch, cling, and keep contact as the prey fights, while the surrounding silk absorbs and redistributes motion. This is why a web can remain effective against violent impacts and desperate escape attempts. The glue does not need to overpower prey by brute stickiness alone. It works alongside the thread, the spacing, and the structure of the web itself. That cooperation is what makes it so elegant. A fast-moving insect becomes tangled in a trap that is chemically and mechanically prepared for panic. The more the prey struggles, the more the whole system begins to take hold. Some spiders recycle old webs by eating the silk. To us, tearing down a web might seem like a loss. To the spider, it can be recovery. Many orb weavers consume large portions of their old silk before building again, reclaiming valuable proteins instead of wasting them in the wind. That habit turns the web into something wonderfully cyclical. It is not just built, used, and abandoned. It is partly taken back into the body, processed, and turned toward the next version. There is something deeply efficient in that routine. The spider hangs a trap in the air, lets it do its work, then gathers part of the material back into itself before starting over. In a world where resources can be scarce, that conservation matters. It also changes the way you think about a web. It is not a separate object left behind like a tool on the ground. It remains part of the spider's ongoing economy, built from the body and, in part, returned there again. A web is part trap, part shelter, and part sensory instrument. It is easy to focus on the obvious function, which is catching prey, but a web can do much more than that. For some spiders, it marks out a living space, a suspended home where the animal can rest, retreat, and monitor the world without wandering openly through it. The web also acts like an extension of the spider's nervous system. A movement on one line, a shift in tension, or a tremor from a nearby windbeat can all carry meaning. The spider does not need to patrol every corner of its territory because the silk itself reports back. This makes the web one of the most extraordinary structures built by any small animal. It changes open air into a readable environment. Space becomes information. The spider is no longer just sitting in a trap. It is occupying an engineered field that catches food, signals danger, and creates a place to live all at the same time. Vibrations tell a spider whether the visitor is prey or mate. For a web-dwelling spider, a tremor is not just a tremor. It is a message that must be interpreted fast. A trapped fly, a courting male, a falling leaf, and a dangerous intruder can all send movement through silk, but the patterns are different. The spider reads timing, intensity, location, and rhythm to decide what kind of event has just entered its world. That ability is essential because a wrong response can be costly. Attack the wrong signal and you may waste energy or injure a potential mate. Ignore the wrong one and you may miss a meal or fail to defend yourself. This means the spider lives in a universe translated through vibration, where meaning arrives as pulses through the legs rather than pictures through the eyes. It is a different sensory life from ours, yet no less rich. A web is not silent to its owner. It is full of coded disturbances waiting to be understood. Some cave spiders have lost much of their eyesight. In deep cave systems, vision can become a poor investment. There is little or no light to work with, and over long spans of time, some spiders living in those conditions have evolved reduced eyes or greatly diminished sight. Instead, they lean more heavily on other senses, especially touch and vibration, to navigate and hunt in darkness that never lifts. This transformation is one of evolution's clearest lessons. Features are not kept just because they once mattered. If an organ becomes costly and less useful, it can shrink or fade across generations. Cave spiders embody that principle in a striking way. They are not broken versions of surface animals. They are specialists shaped for a realm where seeing is secondary and subtle physical information matters more. To enter that world is to imagine life freed from light. A spider can move, feed, and survive in blackness so complete that eyesight itself begins to feel unnecessary. Others thrive in deserts where heat would overwhelm many animals. A desert can seem like the worst possible place for a spider, with searing ground temperatures, scarce water, and long stretches of exposed terrain. Yet some species do exceptionally well there by turning behavior and body design into survival tools. They hide in burrows, hunt during cooler hours, reduce water loss, and move with startling speed across sand that would otherwise bake them. In these landscapes, timing matters as much as anatomy. A few minutes of shade, the right depth of shelter, or a brief window after sunset can make the difference between life and death. What makes desert spiders so compelling is that they are not merely enduring the environment. They are using it. Open ground can favor ambush, burrow defense, or rapid pursuit. Heat that excludes other animals can reduce competition. The result is a spider community shaped by extremes, proving again that where life seems least likely, spiders often find a way to become masters of the place. Social spiders can live together in colonies of thousands. Most spiders are famous for the opposite, a life of solitude, tension, and carefully defended space. That is what makes social species so astonishing. Instead of attacking every neighbor, they tolerate one another, feed side by side, and raise young within the same shared structure. In some places, entire colonies can number in the hundreds or even thousands, all living within a single sprawling home. Imagine branch after branch wrapped in silk, with spiders spread through it like a living village. This arrangement changes everything about their world. Prey can be captured on a larger scale. Young can grow up surrounded by relatives. The colony becomes less like a trap and more like a society, with many bodies contributing to one survival system. For an animal group so often defined by isolation, this is one of the great surprises. Under the right conditions, spiders can stop being loners and become something that feels astonishingly communal. Those colonies can build giant communal webs across entire shrubs. A solitary orb web is already impressive, but a communal web takes that idea to a completely different scale. In social species, silk can spread over whole bushes, small trees, or dense tangles of vegetation until the structure looks less like a web and more like a ghostly tent draped over the landscape. Within that sheeted world, thousands of strands connect resting places, nurseries, and shared capture zones. Insects that might tear through a smaller trap can be stopped by the sheer extent of the silk and the number of spiders ready to respond. The colony turns scattered branches into one cooperative machine. Seen in the right light, these constructions can be breathtaking. Entire shrubs wrapped in pale architecture, trembling with life inside. It feels as if the spiders have changed the habitat itself. They are not simply living in a bush anymore. They are remaking it into a silk fortress large enough to alter the scene. Some spiders steal food from other webs instead of hunting. Not every spider earns its meal the traditional way. Some take a shortcut that feels almost scandalous. Instead of spinning a trap or chasing prey themselves, they slip into the web of another spider and steal from the host's hard work. This can mean snatching small insects caught in the silk, feeding at the edge of a fresh capture, or sneaking bites from food that another spider has already secured. It is a risky way to live because the owner may return at any moment, and the web is full of signals that can betray an intruder. Yet the strategy persists because it works often enough to pay off. In the spider world, that makes these thieves something like parasites, opportunists living by nerve, timing, and deception. A web that looks neat and self-contained can secretly support uninvited guests. Behind the image of patient craftsmanship, there is sometimes theft, intrusion, and a constant struggle over who gets to eat. Pirate spiders invade other webs and eat the resident. Some spiders do not stop at stealing the meal. They go after the hunter. Pirate spiders are specialists in invading the webs of other spiders, moving through dangerous silk that was never meant to hold them safely. Once inside, they use delicate vibrations to avoid immediate detection or to lure the resident closer under false pretenses. Then the attack comes fast. Instead of being trapped by the web, the intruder turns the owner's home into an execution ground. This is one of the strangest reversals in the spider world. The predator built a trap, settled in the middle of it, and then became prey inside its own fortress. Pirate spiders often have body shapes and tactics suited to this life, because raiding another spider's territory is not something an ordinary visitor survives casually. It requires precision, nerve, and specialized behavior. In a kingdom of ambush and silk, there are even hunters that specialize in hunting other hunters where they live. Certain spiders imitate trapped insects to lure another spider closer. A web owner is tuned to certain kinds of disturbance. A struggling insect sends a pattern of jerks and tremors that promises food, and the resident spider often rushes out in response. Some predatory spiders exploit that expectation with chilling skill. They pluck the silk in ways that mimic the movements of trapped prey, creating exactly the sort of signal that will draw the owner closer. The victim thinks dinner has arrived. In reality, death has. This is one of the most elegant deceptions in the spider world because it weaponizes the prey signal itself. The whip, which should function as protection and warning, becomes the channel through which the lie is delivered. The hunter does not need brute force at first. It needs performance. A few well-timed vibrations can reach into the resident's instincts and pull it straight toward danger. In silk country, survival depends on reading signals correctly, and some spiders have learned how to forge them. Some mothers produce unfertilized eggs as food for their young. That may sound like a strange waste at first, but it is a profound act of investment. In certain spider species, a mother lays eggs that will never develop into offspring. Instead, they serve as nourishment for the spiderlings after hatching, giving the young a rich early food source at exactly the stage when they are most vulnerable. This behavior reveals something remarkable about spider motherhood. The mother is not simply producing babies and hoping for the best. She is planning ahead, converting her own resources into edible reserves that can keep them alive when hunting alone would be far too difficult. It is a biological version of setting the table before the children arrive. The image changes how you see the whole group. These are not careless creatures scattering life at random. Under the right conditions, they are deliberate providers, turning part of their own reproductive effort into sustenance, so the next generation begins with a real chance. In a few species, babies feed on nutrient-rich, milk-like fluid. Milk belongs to mammals in most people's minds, so finding something milk-like in a spider feels almost impossible. Yet in a few species, mothers produce a rich fluid that the young consume during early life. It is not mammalian milk in the strict sense, but it plays a surprisingly similar role, delivering concentrated nourishment directly from parent to offspring. That matters because it pushes spider care far beyond the cold stereotype many people hold. The young are not simply abandoned to fend for themselves the moment they hatch. For a time, the mother supports them with a secretion made from her own body, extending their dependence and improving their chances. The whole scene feels astonishingly intimate for an animal group so often misunderstood. It also reminds us that evolution keeps finding similar solutions in very different branches of life. When survival demands it, even a spider can evolve something that sounds uncannily familiar to human ears. Some spider mothers sacrifice their own bodies to nourish offspring. This is one of the most extreme forms of parental care in the animal world. In certain species, the mother does not merely protect or feed her young for a while. She becomes their final meal. After investing in eggs, guarding them, and caring for the spiderlings, she eventually allows or enables them to consume her body, giving them a last powerful burst of nutrition just as they begin independent life. It sounds brutal, but in evolutionary terms, it is an astonishing transfer of resources. Nothing is held back. Her own body becomes the bridge between one generation and the next. Once you know this, the image of a spider mother can never feel simple again. Beneath the small body and silent behavior is a level of sacrifice that rivals anything in nature. For creatures so often treated as symbols of fear, that fact reveals something completely different. In some spider lives, motherhood ends not in distance, but in total gift. Baby spiders can disperse together, then grow into fierce rivals. Early life can begin in surprising closeness. Freshly emerged spiderlings may cluster near the egg sac, move together for a time, or spread out in waves from the same birthplace before their lives start to diverge. In those first moments, they are siblings, sharing origin, timing, and space. But that peace is often temporary. As they grow, the rules change. Hunger sharpens. Territory matters more. The same animals that began shoulder to shoulder can become wary of one another, competitive, and sometimes dangerous company. This shift gives spider life a dramatic arc. It begins in common vulnerability and moves towards separation, risk, and rivalry. The world that once held littermates becomes a landscape where each individual must claim enough food and space to survive. That transformation is deeply revealing. Spiders are not born as perfect little loners. In many cases, solitude is something they grow into, as the pressure of survival reshapes family into competition. Males of some species gift-trap prey before courting females. In a world where approaching a female can be perilous, a well-presented gift can make all the difference. Some male spiders catch prey, wrap it neatly in silk, and offer it during courtship. The package becomes both meal and message. It signals that the male has arrived with something valuable, something that may occupy the female long enough for him to mate more safely. There is elegance in that strategy. Silk, which might be used for trap lines or egg cases in other contexts, becomes wrapping paper for a bridal offering. The moment has a strange sweetness to it, even though it unfolds in a world of danger and appetite. The male is not just courting. He is negotiating with food, timing, and nerve. Sometimes the gift is substantial. Sometimes it may be less impressive than it appears. Either way, the act turns courtship into a transaction, where survival may depend on whether the package is interesting enough. Other males risk becoming dinner if their timing is wrong. Courtship can be a deadly miscalculation. A male entering the presence of a larger female has to manage distance, rhythm, and approach with astonishing care, because one wrong moment can shift the entire interaction from romance to predation. If he arrives when she is hungry, signals poorly, or moves in a way that resembles prey, he may not get a second chance. This danger gives spider courtship its unique tension. It is not simply about attraction. It is about surviving long enough to communicate at all. That makes every successful mating feel hard-won. The male must read the female's state, deliver the right cues, and choose the perfect instant to commit. All the while, the possibility of becoming dinner remains very real. In many animals, courtship is a display. In some spiders, it is closer to a high-risk operation. The line between success and catastrophe can be as thin as a single badly timed movement. A spider's courtship can depend on rhythm, color, and vibration. For some species, romance is a full sensory performance. The male does not rely on one signal alone. He may wave brightly marked limbs, pulse the web or the ground with patterned vibrations, and move in carefully timed sequences that the female can see and feel together. This layered communication matters because different environments favor different channels. In bright daylight, color can stand out sharply. On silk or leaf litter, vibration can carry just as much meaning. Rhythm ties it all together, turning movement into something closer to a coded dance. The richness of that system is one of the great surprises of spider life. These animals are not simply colliding and mating by luck. They're exchanging information through multimodal displays that can be subtle, flashy, or exquisitely precise. Once you see courtship this way, spiders stop looking like simple predators. They become performers in a sensory world far more sophisticated than most people ever imagine. Jumping spiders see colors far better than most people expect. Their visual world is much richer than the stereotype of a tiny predator reacting only to motion. Jumping spiders can distinguish colors with impressive ability, and that matters enormously in daily life. It helps them detect prey, recognize rivals, and interpret courtship displays that would lose much of their meaning in a colorless world. In some species, bright markings on a mate are not decorative accidents. They are visual signals meant to be noticed and judged. This gives jumping spiders a kind of presence that feels unusual for animals so small. They are not just reacting to a blur of brightness and shadow. They are looking into a world of hue and pattern with real discrimination. That is part of why their behavior can seem so deliberate. Vision is doing serious work. When a jumping spider turns and stares, there is more going on than many people assume. Its tiny eyes are taking in a vivid, information-rich scene. Some spider eyes shine in torchlight like tiny green lanterns. If you sweep a light across grass or low vegetation at night, you may suddenly catch dozens of tiny points flashing back at you. In some spiders, especially certain hunters, a reflective layer in the eyes can return light in a way that makes them gleam like scattered droplets of green or silver fire. The effect is eerie and beautiful all at once. A patch of ground that seemed empty becomes crowded with hidden watchers. This "I shine" is not a trick for our benefit. It is connected to the structure of the eye and the way available light is handled, helping in conditions where every photon matters. Yet for a human observer, the result can be unforgettable. Darkness stops feeling blank. It becomes populated. The night field is suddenly alive with tiny sparks, each one marking a spider looking back. Few sights do more to reveal how much life surrounds us unseen until light touches it. Web-building spiders can tune thread tension with remarkable control. A web is not simply hung and forgotten. Its performance depends on tension, balance, and placement, and the spider adjusts those qualities with remarkable finesse. Pull a line too tight, and the structure may become brittle or distort under impact. Leave it too slack, and signals may not travel cleanly, while prey could escape more easily. The spider works within that narrow zone by choosing anchor points carefully, altering lengths, and laying strands in ways that create the right mechanical feel across the whole design. This control is part of why webs vary with species, habitat, and purpose. A structure exposed to wind, open air, or dense vegetation cannot always be built the same way. The spider responds through tuning, not guesswork. Once you realize this, the web feels less like decoration and more like instrument building. Each strand has to join the others under the right conditions so the finished trap performs as intended. A damaged web can reveal exactly where prey escaped. To us, a torn web may just look messy. To the spider, it can read like a recent event frozen in silk. A missing section, stretched line, or broken spiral can show where impact happened, how force moved through the structure, and where the prey likely broke free. In that sense, damage is not only loss, it is information. The web records what happened with remarkable honesty, leaving behind a physical trace of the struggle. That matters because the spider can respond intelligently, repairing critical areas instead of rebuilding blindly. The torn geometry points to weakness, failure, and the path of escape. It is almost like reading tracks after a chase. The prey may be gone, but its departure remains inscribed in the silk. This makes a web feel surprisingly alive as a document of events. It is not just a tool that catches or misses. It remembers the collision in its own altered shape. Spiders help farmers by devouring vast numbers of crop pests. Across fields, orchards, and hedgerows, spiders are working as unpaid pest control every day and night. They catch aphids, flies, moths, beetles, and countless other small animals that feed on crops or interfere with farm ecosystems. This happened quietly and continuously, without engines, chemicals, or human supervision. A single spider may not seem important, but spread that effect across thousands of individuals in agricultural land, and the result becomes enormous. The farm is not just soil and plants. It is also a battleground of tiny appetites, and spiders are among the most effective hunters on the grower's side. Their value lies partly in variety. Different species work in different places, on the ground, among stems, across leaves, or in the air between rows. Together they form a layered defense. The harvest owes more to these eight-legged predators than most people ever realize. They are hidden laborers helping hold insect pressure in check. Without spiders, insect populations would surge far more wildly. Spiders are one of the great stabilizing forces in the small animal world. They remove huge numbers of insects from ecosystems, and that steady pressure helps prevent prey populations from exploding unchecked. This does not mean they erase insects or control every outbreak perfectly. Nature is messier than that. But without the constant presence of spiders across fields, forests, wetlands, and gardens, many insect numbers would swing much more sharply upward. The consequences would ripple outward. Plants would face heavier feeding. Other predators would respond differently. Entire food webs could shift. What makes this so fascinating is the scale of it. Tiny hunters, spread almost everywhere, add up to planetary influence. They do not need to be dramatic to matter. Their effect comes from persistence and sheer number. Each capture seems small, yet together they help regulate the living world. When spiders are present, the balance of abundance and restraint looks very different. Scientists estimate spiders eat immense amounts of prey every year. Taken one by one, spider meals seem trivial. A fly here, a moth there, a beetle, a mosquito, a wandering insect on a leaf. Add those meals across the planet, though, and the scale becomes staggering. Scientists have estimated that the global spider community consumes an immense mass of animal prey each year, enough to force us to stop thinking of spiders as minor background creatures. They are major predators in the world's ecosystems, operating almost everywhere and feeding with astonishing cumulative force. Forest floors, grasslands, croplands, marsh edges, walls, cellars, and gardens all contribute to this unseen harvest. What is most remarkable is how quietly it happens. There is no roar, no stampede, no visible spectacle from a distance. Yet taken together, spiders are removing a truly vast quantity of small life from the planet's living systems. Their influence is enormous precisely because it is continuous, widespread, and easy for humans to overlook. Even city gardens are full of skilled eight-legged predators. You do not need a rainforest or remote canyon to find remarkable spider life. A small city garden, a patch of ivy, a row of herbs, or a corner fence can support hunters every bit as specialized as those in wilder places. One may sit in a web between tomato stems. Another may patrol the soil after dusk. A jumping spider may study the brick wall in full daylight, while a crab spider waits among petals beside the path. Urban environments do not erase spider behavior. They simply relocate it into new textures and surfaces. This is part of what makes spiders so fascinating. They meet us where we live and keep practicing their ancient skills among paving stones, planters, sheds, and balconies. A city garden is not a reduced version of nature. It is a miniature hunting ground layered with ambush, silk, vigilance, and movement. Right beside human life, the spider world continues in full. Some spiders live inside human homes without ever being noticed. A house can feel like sealed human territory, but it is often shared with hidden predators that pass almost entirely unseen. Small spiders live behind shelves, under radiators, inside ceiling corners, and along the quiet edges of rooms where insects also drift and gather. Many remain invisible not because they are rare, but because they are still patient and perfectly content with the tiny opportunities our homes provide. A moth near a lamp, a fly at the window, a silverfish in the dark, all can become part of a life unfolding just beyond our attention. This hidden coexistence is strangely fascinating. While people cook, sleep, clean, and move from room to room, a separate world continues at ankle height and above eye level. A spider may spend weeks in the same unnoticed space, surviving on the little currents of prey that human life accidentally creates. The home is rarely as empty as it seems. House spiders often stay in one corner for most of life. That stillness can make them seem lazy, but it is really a very successful strategy. A quiet corner offers shelter from wind, rain, and many predators, while also serving as a predictable place where insects may pass. Once a house spider finds a reliable patch beside a ceiling, behind furniture, or near a window, there may be little reason to leave. It can repair silk, wait, feed, and continue its life within a territory no larger than a dinner plate. That changes the way you picture the animal. It is not roaming the home like a restless intruder. It is occupying a chosen site with extraordinary commitment, turning one overlooked angle of the room into an entire world. If conditions remain stable, that corner becomes hunting ground, refuge, and long-term address all at once. A spider can spend much of its existence there, largely unmoving, while the much larger lives around it keep changing. A spider can walk across its own web without sticking. That fact seems almost magical the first time you think it through. The web is designed to hold struggling prey, yet its builder moves over it with astonishing ease, crossing strands, turning sharply, and reaching trapped insects without becoming a victim of its own trap. This is not luck. The spider knows the structure intimately and uses it with precise control. It steps in ways that reduce contact with the sticky portions, and in many webs, not every strand is meant to glue. Structural lines provide safer routes, allowing the spider to travel through the trap while keeping the capture spiral ready for prey. There is also something elegant in the body mechanics involved. Each movement is measured, almost practiced, as if the spider were walking across a musical instrument it built itself. What looks like a deadly maze to other animals becomes, for the spider, a familiar landscape with safe paths laid exactly where they are needed. Its feet touch dry strands while avoiding the fresh glue. That is one of the secrets behind safe movement on a sticky web. Not every line is the same. Some strands are dry and structural, meant to hold the architecture together or provide pathways. Others are coated with fresh adhesive droplets intended to trap insects. The spider moves with an awareness of that difference, placing its feet where they are least likely to snag. This is one reason orb webs are so remarkable. They are not just random tangles. They are organized systems with roads and hazards built side by side. The spider navigates them almost like a careful climber on ropes, choosing the right lines and angles as it goes. Even the position of each foot matters. A wrong step could create trouble, but the animal's routine is so refined that it usually crosses without hesitation. It is a lovely inversion. The same structure that becomes disaster for prey becomes a controlled network of safe routes for its maker. Some spiders hunt by sensing air movements made by wings. Before a flying insect lands, before it touches silk or ground, it may already have announced itself through the air. Certain spiders are exquisitely sensitive to those subtle disturbances. Fine hairs on their bodies detect tiny shifts in airflow, including the pulses created by beating wings nearby. To us, that level of information is inaccessible without instruments. To the spider, it can mean the difference between waiting and striking. A moth or fly does not need to make contact to become detectable. Its motion alone can ripple through the surrounding air and reach the spider as a warning or opportunity. This kind of hunting feels almost supernatural because it turns empty space into readable information. The spider is not simply reacting to what it sees. It is feeling invisible movement produced by another body. Long before prey realizes it has been noticed, the spider may already be tracking its approach through the faint breathing of the air itself. Others ambush from burrows with only their front legs exposed. At first, there is almost nothing to see. A hole in the soil, a dark slit among stones, perhaps a little silk at the edge. Then you notice the front legs, held just beyond the entrance like sensing rods. Some burrow-dwelling spiders wait in exactly that posture, keeping most of the body hidden while the legs sample vibrations from the world outside. Passing prey does not see a full predator. It sees empty ground until the strike comes. The attack is explosive because the spider begins from a place of total concealment, using the burrow as both fortress and launch chamber. This strategy is wonderfully dramatic. The earth itself seems to open for a second, then close again with prey dragged below. It is a reminder that spider hunting is not always about webs or open pursuit. Sometimes the landscape becomes the trap, and the spider reduces itself to the smallest visible clue, just enough leg to read the world and no more. Tarantulas can flick irritating hairs as a defensive cloud. A tarantula does not always need to bite to make an enemy regret getting close. In many species from the Americas, the abdomen carries specialized hairs that can be kicked off with the back legs in a sudden defensive burst. Those hairs are tiny, barbed, and surprisingly effective. Once airborne, they drift into the face of a threat and create intense irritation on skin or in delicate tissues. For a predator investigating too closely, that can be enough to break off the attack at once. This defense is fascinating because it feels so unlike the usual image of a spider relying only on jaws and venom. Instead, the tarantula uses its own body as a source of airborne deterrent, almost like a living powder weapon. The move is fast, practical, and well suited to a large ground-dwelling spider that may face mammals or other animals too dangerous to confront directly. Not every spider fights by biting. Some fight by making contact unbearable. Those hairs can trouble eyes, skin, and curious predators. What makes them so effective is not size, but structure. Each hair is so small it can seem insignificant, yet its barbed surface allows it to lodge in sensitive tissue and produce severe irritation. A nose, an eye, a patch of soft skin, all can become instantly uncomfortable once those hairs arrive. For a predator, that means the lesson is memorable. Curiosity becomes pain, and pain teaches distance. Even humans handling tarantulas carelessly can discover how unpleasant those defensive hairs really are. This adds another layer to tarantula survival. A large spider on open ground might seem exposed, but it carries a deterrent that can create chaos for anything trying to mouth, paw, or inspect it too closely. The defense does not need to kill. It only needs to persuade. In evolutionary terms, that is often enough. A predator that backs away rubbing its face has already delivered the spider exactly what it needed, which is time to remain alive. Some spiders mimic bird droppings to hide in plain sight. It is one of the most brilliant disguises in nature because it relies on disgust rather than beauty. A spider shaped and colored to resemble a splatter of bird waste becomes something most predators will not even bother to inspect. White patches, dark smudges, an uneven outline. These details combine to make the animal look like worthless mess instead of edible life. The deception is especially effective in daylight on leaves and branches, where real bird droppings are common enough to form part of the background. To a predator scanning quickly, the disguise is perfect, because the best camouflage is sometimes not invisibility, but misclassification. The spider is seen, yet seen as the wrong thing. That is what makes the trick so satisfying. It does not vanish into nature by matching a leaf. It survives by becoming something nobody wants. In a dangerous world, looking revolting can be one of the cleverest ways to stay alive. Others disguise themselves as twigs, bark, or broken leaves. The artistry of spider camouflage can be astonishing. Some species flatten against bark until they seem carved from it. Others angle their bodies to mimic a thorn, a splintered twig, or a scrap of dead leaf caught in the branches. Color helps, but shape is often just as important. The body outline breaks into irregular points and textures that dissolve into the surface behind it. This matters because many predators are not fooled by color alone. They detect edges, silhouettes, and the telltale form of a living animal. A spider that changes the whole impression of its body gains a much deeper concealment. In some cases, even a close human look can slide right past the animal without registering it. That is part of the wonder. The spider is not only hiding, it is reshaping the story the eye tells. A hunter searching bark for movement may overlook the spider completely because it now belongs to the tree more than to itself. Certain tropical spiders add stabilizing lines that strengthen giant webs. In lush tropical habitats, webs can become much larger and more exposed than the modest structures people picture in gardens. A wide trap stretched between branches has to cope with wind, heavy impacts, and the strain of supporting a large capture area. Some spiders answer that challenge by adding extra lines that brace and stabilize the structure, distributing force and helping the web keep its shape under stress. These additions may not look dramatic to us, but mechanically they matter a great deal. They turn a vulnerable sheet of silk into something more resilient and controlled. It is easy to admire a giant web for its size alone, yet the real marvel is the engineering behind it. The spider is not merely making a bigger version of a normal trap. It is adapting the design to scale. In the crowded air of a tropical forest, where prey can be larger and the environment harsher, architecture has to become more sophisticated. Some spiders can survive brief flooding by trapping air around themselves. A sudden rise of water can transform the world for any small land animal. Soil fills, burrows flood, and what was safe ground becomes a moving surface. Some spiders endure this by using air itself as temporary protection. Fine hairs on the body help hold a thin layer of air when the spider is submerged, creating a shimmering envelope that can buy precious time. That trapped air may help with breathing for a while, and it can also keep parts of the body from becoming fully wetted. To watch such a spider underwater is to see something almost impossible: a land hunter wearing a silvery coat of stolen atmosphere. This strategy is not a permanent aquatic lifestyle, but it can mean the difference between immediate death and survival through a short flood. In the spider world, even disaster can be met with strange ingenuity. When water rises too fast, some carry their own breath with them. A few shoreline spiders use water tension like a hunting platform. The surface of water can behave like an invisible skin, and some spiders have learned to use it. At the edge of ponds, marshes, and slow streams, a few species stand or move on that tension, exploiting a boundary most animals cannot use with such finesse. From there, they hunt insects trapped at the surface or sense movements from prey just below. It is a remarkable position because the spider is balanced between two worlds, supported by physics delicate enough to break with the wrong contact. Every step depends on distributing weight correctly and reading the water for signals. The surface becomes more than a barrier. It becomes a floor, a sensor, and a place of opportunity. To human eyes, water usually belongs to fish, frogs, and insects. Yet here is a spider using the same shimmering plane as a hunting stage. The pond edge becomes a place where silk hunters turn into surface walkers. Spiders do not have ears, yet many can still sense sound. That sounds contradictory until you remember that hearing is not really about ears. It is about detecting vibrations carried through the world. Many spiders manage this without anything like the familiar ear structures of mammals or birds. Instead, their legs and bodies are equipped with exquisitely sensitive receptors that respond to movement in air, ground, or silk. A nearby buzz, wing beat, or footfall can reach them as mechanical information rather than audible experience in the human sense. That makes their sensory world deeply fascinating. Sound is not absent from it. It is simply translated differently. A spider can react to an approaching wasp, a calling mate, or prey disturbance without ever possessing ears as we imagine them. This reminds us how narrow our own assumptions can be. We tend to picture one solution to a problem, then nature arrives with another. In the spider world, hearing happens without ears, and the result can still be astonishingly effective. Their bodies are tuned to vibrations that travel through air and silk. A spider is not just sitting in its environment. It is coupled to it. Fine sensory structures on the legs and body allow it to pick up minute vibrations moving through strands, surfaces, and even the air around it. This means information can arrive from many directions at once. A web tremor might signal trapped prey. A faint air pulse might reveal an approaching predator. A subtle movement in nearby silk could belong to a courting male. The spider's body is built to turn those tiny physical events into meaning. What is so compelling about this is the level of refinement involved. These animals do not need brute sensory organs when their whole posture and anatomy function like receivers. In a sense, the spider becomes part of the web's tension and part of the air's disturbance. That changes the whole mood of the animal. It is not merely watching the world. It is listening with its entire body to the trembling architecture around it. Sun spiders can detect polarized light in the sky. To humans, the sky can seem like a broad wash of brightness. To animals able to read polarized light, it carries hidden structure. Certain spiders appear capable of detecting these patterns, which are created as sunlight scatters through the atmosphere. That ability is remarkable because polarized light can provide directional information even when the sun itself is obscured or when ordinary visual cues are limited. In effect, the sky contains a map most people never notice. A spider that can read it gains access to orientation signals written in light rather than landmarks. This is one more reminder that spider vision and sensory life are richer than the stereotype suggests. The world above them is not just blue or grey. It is patterned with useful data. Even a tiny animal can exploit that invisible order. Once you grasp this, the open sky stops feeling empty. For some spiders, it is full of guidance, like a compass stretched across the whole dome of day. That ability may help them navigate when they release ballooning silk. Taking off into the sky on silk is an extraordinary gamble, and any information that helps guide that choice would be valuable. If a spider can read polarized light, it may gain clues about orientation and conditions before launching or while preparing to travel. That possibility is fascinating because ballooning already depends on a mix of timing, atmosphere, and hidden forces. Add sky-based navigation to the picture, and the act becomes even more impressive. The spider is no longer just a passive scrap carried by chance. It may be making use of visual information from the heavens to improve the odds of a successful departure. For an animal so small, that feels almost unbelievable. Yet it fits a broader pattern. Spiders repeatedly show that even simple-looking behaviors can rest on subtle sensory foundations. A strand of silk rises, the body lifts, and a journey begins, perhaps guided in part by patterns of light that most of us never realize are there. Tiny spiderlings can hatch already ready to hunt. There is something startling about how quickly the spider life begins to resemble the adult one. A newly hatched spiderling may be minute enough to fit on a pinhead, yet in many species it is already equipped with venom, silk, and the instinct needed to capture prey. It does not have to pass through a long, helpless childhood before becoming recognizable as a spider. The basic toolkit is there almost from the start, scaled down but functional. That gives these tiny animals an extraordinary independence. Once they disperse, each one must enter the world as a working predator, reading danger, finding food, and surviving on its own. The drama of that is easy to miss because the spiderlings are so small. Yet each is a complete little hunter beginning life in a landscape that is huge and hazardous beyond imagination. A hatchling spider is not just a baby. It is already a miniature version of the ancient design. Not all venom is for defense. Much of it is for digestion. People often imagine venom only as a weapon, something meant to hurt enemies or stop prey by force. In spiders, it often does more than that. Venom can begin the process of breaking prey down internally, helping turn a captured insect into something the spider can actually consume. This matters because spiders do not chew prey into pieces the way many animals do. They feed on liquefied tissues, so their chemistry has to start transforming the meal before it can be taken in. That gives venom a wonderfully practical role. It is not merely about attack. It is part of the spider's kitchen. The bite becomes the first step in making the prey edible. This changes the tone of the whole feeding process. What seems like a simple strike is also the opening move in digestion. In spider biology, hunting and eating are tightly linked, and venom sits at the boundary between capture and the slow conversion of prey into nourishment. A spider often begins liquefying prey before taking the first sip. The meal starts before the spider appears to eat. After prey is subdued, digestive fluids begin breaking down soft tissues from the inside, turning the body into a nutrient-rich broth that can be drawn up later. This is one of the most alien aspects of spider feeding, and one of the most fascinating. The prey is not bitten apart and swallowed in chunks. Instead, it is chemically transformed until the spider can drink what it needs. What remains afterward is often little more than a dry husk, emptied of the rich material inside. That makes the feeding process feel almost alchemical. A struggling insect becomes still, then gradually becomes liquid food through chemistry working unseen within the body. For the spider, this is efficient and elegant. For us, it can seem eerie and unforgettable. The first sip is not the beginning of the meal, but the culmination of a process already underway inside the captured animal. The largest spiders can overpower prey far bigger than insects. When most people picture a spider meal, they imagine a fly, a moth, or something similarly small. Yet the biggest spiders can tackle prey that feels shockingly large by comparison. Large tarantulas and other heavy-bodied hunters have been known to subdue small vertebrates such as frogs, lizards, and mice when the chance appears. That does not mean such meals are everyday routine, but it does show how much strength, venom, and control a large spider can bring to one encounter. The prey is often grabbed with sudden force, pinned by powerful legs, and held long enough for venom to begin its work. Seen up close, the size gapped and feel astonishing. A creature many people think of as fragile becomes a dominant predator in its own world. It changes the emotional scale of spider life. They are not always nibbling at crumbs of the food web. Some stand much higher in it than most people ever imagine. Some tropical spiders had been seen catching small fish. At the edge of tropical streams and ponds, a spider can become something few people expect, a fisher waiting for movement on the water. Certain large hunting spiders patrol margins where tiny fish and aquatic creatures come within reach. When the moment is right, they strike with startling speed, pulling prey from the surface or just below it before it can dart away. This is not the normal image of spider hunting, which is exactly why it feels so remarkable. Water seems like another kingdom, a place for fins and scales rather than 8 legs. Yet the spider crosses that boundary with surprising confidence. It reads ripples, times the strike, and turns a shimmering surface into an opportunity. The prey may be slick, strong, and far heavier than the insects people associate with spiders, but the attack still works. A pond edge becomes a hunting line where spider and fish briefly meet, and the spider sometimes wins. Others have been recorded eating bats in hanging webs. Few spider facts shock people more than this one, because bats feel too large, too fast, and too fully airborne to belong on the menu. Yet in some places, especially in warmer regions, large orb webs have been found holding small bats that flew into them at the wrong angle and with the wrong momentum. Once tangled, the bat may struggle hard, but the strength and spread of the silk can keep it from escaping quickly. If the web builder is large enough and the circumstances favor it, the spider may bite and feed. These events are rare, which is part of what makes them so arresting. They reveal the outer limits of what a web can do and what a spider can exploit. A trap meant for flying insects can, under extraordinary conditions, seize something far more dramatic. Suddenly, the familiar garden image of web and spider expands into something much more formidable and strange. Certain spiders can survive freezing nights by changing body chemistry. A freezing night can be lethal to small animals, especially those with bodies full of water. Some spiders endure it by altering their internal chemistry as the cold sets in. Compounds in the body can rise in concentration and act a little like natural antifreeze, lowering the temperature at which damaging ice forms in critical tissues. This is one of those survival tricks that feels almost supernatural until you remember evolution has had a very long time to experiment. The spider does not need fur, feathers, or great size to get through a hard night. It changes itself from within. That means a creature resting under bark, in leaf litter, or among stones can survive temperatures that seem impossible for such a small hunter. By morning, it may still be there, intact and ready to resume life when the sun returns. Winter does not erase all spiders. Some are chemically prepared to meet it head-on. Some species thrive high in mountains above the tree line. Above the last twisted trees, the world becomes harsher in every direction. The air grows thinner, the wind stronger, the nights colder, and the ground more exposed. It does not feel like spider country, yet some species live there very successfully. They shelter among rocks, in cracks, under alpine plants, or in thin mats of vegetation close to the earth where conditions are slightly less brutal. Prey may be scarce and seasons short, but these spiders have adapted to a place that tests almost every living thing. What makes that so fascinating is the contrast in scale. Tiny predators are surviving in landscapes that look built for eagles, goats, and snow. They are threading a living through altitude, cold, and sudden weather, where the margin for error must be razor thin. A mountain summit may seem barren from a distance, but close to the ground a spider can still find a way to hunt, hide, and endure. A few spiders live in caves, lava tubes, and deep crevices. These are places where ordinary daylight fades or vanishes, where walls stay cool, damp, and ancient, and where the world narrows into stone. Yet spiders have moved into them. In caves and lava tubes, they occupy ceilings, cracks, ledges, and dark pockets where insects or other small animals also pass through. Life there can be sparse, which makes every capture matter. Some species become pale or long-legged. Others remain ghostly hunters in fissures and voids most people never notice. Deep crevices offer similar shelter on a smaller scale, creating hidden corridors inside rocks, cliffs, and old structures. What is so compelling about this is how complete the invasion is. Spiders do not only master forests, gardens, and deserts. They enter the planet's hollow places too. The stone world becomes another hunting ground. In darkness beneath our feet or inside old volcanic tunnels, the spider story continues in silence and shadow. Web silk can carry static charges that help pull prey in. A web is not only a mechanical trap, it also interacts with invisible forces in the air. Insects often carry a static charge as they fly, built through friction with the atmosphere and the beating of their wings. Spider silk can respond to that charge. As an insect nears the web, electrostatic attraction may help threads leap slightly toward the prey or increase the chance of contact. That sounds almost like science fiction, yet it adds another layer to why webs work so well. The trap is not passively waiting with perfect indifference. It is participating in the encounter through physics too small for us to see. This matters because even a tiny increase in contact can mean the difference between a miss and a capture. The web does not need to swing like a net. It only needs to close the final gap. In that sense, electricity becomes part of the hunt, hidden in plain air. Even the web hanging still is interacting with the surrounding air. A web can look motionless in the morning or at dusk, as if it was simply suspended there without doing anything at all. In reality, it is always engaged with the air around it. Breezes, humidity, temperature shifts, electric forces, and the tiny turbulence created by passing insects all influence how the silk behaves. Even without a capture, The web is in constant relationship with its environment, stretching slightly, vibrating faintly, and presenting its threads to whatever the atmosphere brings. That is what makes it feel so alive once you start thinking about it properly. The web is not just hanging in air. It is using air. Every strand is exposed to a stream of information and force. The spider's architecture exists at the meeting point between body and weather, between material and movement. What seems still to us is actually poised inside a field of subtle interactions, ready for the smallest change to matter. Jumping spiders may enter sleep states with twitching, dream-like movements. This is one of the newest and most charming mysteries in spider science. Young jumping spiders have been observed hanging at night in a resting posture, while parts of the body twitch in brief episodes. Their legs curl slightly. The abdomen may move. Most intriguingly, the eyes appear to shift beneath the outer surface during these periods. Because jumping spiders rely so heavily on vision, those moving eyes have led researchers to compare the state, cautiously, to dream-associated phases of sleep in other animals. No one can say what a spider experiences or whether anything like dreaming exists in the same way. Still, the image is extraordinary. A tiny hunter that spent the day leaping and staring now hangs in darkness with its body flickering through private activity we do not fully understand. It makes the spider feel more vivid, more internally complex, and more mysterious than the stereotype of a simple machine ever allows. Their resting legs curl and their eyes shift during the night. There is something deeply arresting about a small animal becoming visibly different in sleep. In resting jumping spiders, the body often hangs from silk, with the legs folded inward in a softer posture than the alert, active stance of daytime. During certain periods, the eyes seem to move, and the body may flick or tremble in short bursts. These details matter because they hint at nighttime rhythms far richer than stillness alone. The spider is not simply switched off. It appears to pass through changing states, with outward signs that something dynamic is happening beneath the surface. That can alter the whole emotional feel of the creature. The daytime hunter with precise vision and sudden leaps becomes, at night, a hanging sleeper with shifting eyes and curled limbs. It is one of those moments where science makes an animal feel unexpectedly intimate. We begin to sense not only what the spider does, but something about how its life unfolds through darkness. Some spiders can memorize landmarks around a hunting route. For a small predator moving through leaves, stems, bark, and stones, the world is full of obstacles and branching paths. Some spiders appear able to remember useful features of that environment and use them when hunting. A particular stem, a gap between leaves, a promising approach line. These can matter when the spider needs to circle prey or return to a favorable position. This is especially impressive in active hunters because the landscape is not a flat surface. It is a three-dimensional maze. Memorizing even parts of it gives the spider a meaningful advantage. The hunt becomes less like blind exploration and more like navigation through known space. That idea alone is enough to transform how people see them. A spider is not always improvising from moment to moment. It may be carrying a small map of the local world in memory, using landmarks to guide movement with a confidence its tiny size does not prepare us to expect. A spider can abandon one strategy and switch to another. Flexibility is one of the most impressive things about spider behavior. A hunt does not always go as planned, and when conditions change, some spiders can change with them. An active hunter may stalk, pause, retreat, circle, then suddenly rush if the opportunity opens. A web spider may respond one way to weak struggle and another to violent thrashing. An ambush predator may hold still for a long time, then choose movement when patience stops paying off. This ability to switch approaches matters because the living world is messy. Prey behaves unpredictably. Wind interferes. Surfaces shift. A rigid system would fail too often. Instead, some spiders behave with a surprising degree of tactical adjustment. That makes them feel less like fixed instinct and more like problem solvers operating within tight biological limits. The spider is not trapped inside one script. Under the right conditions, it can revise the plan and try a different path to success. Webs can become so species-specific that experts identify the builder. To most of us, a web is simply a web. Delicate, symmetrical, perhaps beautiful in dew. To an expert, the details can be far more revealing. The spacing of the spirals, the angle of the frame, the presence or absence of certain extra lines, the shape, the location, and even the texture of the construction can all point toward the species that made it. That means silk can function almost like handwriting. The spider leaves behind a structure so characteristic that trained eyes can recognize the maker even when the animal itself is absent. This is astonishing because it turns architecture into identity. The web is not just a tool. It is an expression of body design, behavior, and evolutionary history all at once. One species builds one way, another builds differently, and those differences persist with enough consistency to be useful. A web hanging empty may still reveal exactly whose mind and body shaped it. A single meadow can hold thousands of spiders hunting quietly together. At first glance, a meadow can seem peaceful and simple, just grass, flowers, wind, and light. Kneel down and the picture changes completely. Between stems, under leaves, across seed heads, and on the soil itself, spiders may be everywhere. Some wait in tiny webs. Some prowl. Some hide and lunge. Spread across even a modest field, their numbers can become astonishing, adding up to thousands of hunters sharing the same patch of land. That density is one reason spiders matter so much ecologically. They are not rare oddities scattered here and there. In the right habitat, they are a dominant force operating on a miniature scale. The meadow becomes a layered hunting ground with action taking place at every level from ground to flower top. Most of it passes unnoticed because the actors are small and the method subtle. Yet all around the grasses, countless spider lives are unfolding at once in the open air. Some spiders share meals, but many cannot tolerate close company. This tension sits at the heart of spider society. In a few species or specific situations, individuals may feed from the same prey or live near one another long enough for food sharing to happen. That can seem surprisingly cooperative, especially in colonies or among close relatives. Yet for many spiders, closeness remains risky. Another spider nearby may mean competition, theft, injury, or cannibalism. A meal that invites company can also invite trouble. This makes spider life feel full of unstable boundaries. The same animal may tolerate others briefly under the right conditions, then turn hostile when hunger rises or space narrows. Sharing is possible, but it is rarely casual. Every interaction carries the question of where cooperation ends and danger begins. That uncertainty gives spider behavior its distinctive edge. They are not simply social or solitary as neat categories. They often live somewhere in a shifting middle ground, shaped by opportunity, kinship, and appetite. Ancient myths feared spiders, yet science keeps finding fresh marvels. Human beings have loaded spiders with meaning for thousands of years. They have appeared as omens, tricksters, weavers of fate, symbols of patience, symbols of fear, and figures of dark corners and hidden danger. That long history tells us something important. Spiders have always gripped the imagination. Yet modern science has not made them dull or ordinary. It has done the opposite. The closer they are studied, the more surprising they become. Their silk outperforms materials we struggle to imitate. Their senses operate in ways that challenge our assumptions. Their courtship, parenting, architecture, and hunting strategies continue to reveal new layers. This is what makes them so extraordinary as a subject. They are ancient enough to live in myth and modern enough to keep startling laboratories. Fear may have brought many people to notice them in the first place, but wonder is what keeps science coming back. The old stories are not being replaced. They are being deepened. Spider silk is inspiring new ideas in medicine and engineering. When scientists look at spider silk, they are not simply admiring a natural curiosity. They are studying a material with qualities humans would love to reproduce. It is light, strong, flexible, and made under conditions far gentler than industrial manufacturing usually requires. Those traits have inspired work in fields ranging from medical materials to high-performance fibers. Researchers have explored silk-inspired ideas for sutures, scaffolds that help support healing tissue, and lightweight materials with exceptional toughness. The fascination comes from how much elegance is packed into one biological product. A spider makes advanced fiber at room temperature with water-based chemistry, inside a body no bigger than your thumb or less. That challenges the human imagination. What if our materials could be made with similar efficiency and control? What if strength did not have to mean heaviness? Spider silk is not just a marvel of nature. It has become a model for what better human design might look like. Researchers study webs to design stronger materials and gentler senses. A web is a trap, but it is also a lesson in how to build structures that are responsive without being rigid. Engineers study the way silk networks distribute force, survive impact, and transmit vibration with extraordinary sensitivity. Those qualities can inspire new materials that handle stress more gracefully, along with sensors capable of detecting tiny changes without needing bulky components. The appeal lies in the balance. Webs are delicate enough to register fine disturbances, yet resilient enough to remain useful after repeated strain. That combination is difficult to achieve in human design. Nature managed it with strands almost too fine to see. This is why a spiderweb matters far beyond the garden. It is not merely something pretty and new. It is an existence proof that like materials can also be robust, informative, and highly efficient. Each web offers a small masterclass in how to combine strength, flexibility, and sensitivity without waste. The closer scientists look, the stranger spiders seem to become. That may be the most satisfying truth of all. At a distance, a spider seems easy to define. It has 8 legs, silk, venom, and a reputation. Look closer, and the simplicity dissolves. Suddenly there are spiders that fish, spiders that glide on atmospheric forces, spiders that dance in color, spiders that build underwater air chambers, spiders that mimic ants, spiders that live socially, and spiders whose sleep may include twitching eye movements. Even the familiar parts become stranger under scrutiny. Silk is not just thread. A web is not just a net. Venom is not just a weapon. Each layer of study opens another. This is what makes spiders such an endlessly rewarding subject. They refuse to stay inside the narrow mental box people build for them. Science has not exhausted their mystery. It keeps enlarging it. The more precisely we examine them, the less ordinary they appear, and the more fascinating the whole group becomes. Spiders are not just creepy crawlers, they are evolutionary masterpieces. That is the conclusion the evidence keeps pointing toward. Over hundreds of millions of years, spiders have evolved solutions to survival that are elegant, varied, and often astonishingly advanced. They have mastered silk in ways no human technology fully matches. They have colonized deserts, forests, mountain heights, caves, wetlands, houses, and the open air above the land. They hunt with webs, leaps, ambush, mimicry, vibration, and patience. They care for young in ways people never expect. They sense the world through systems that make our own assumptions feel limited. None of this belongs to a crude or simplistic animal. It belongs to a lineage shaped by relentless refinement over deep time. Once you see that, the stereotype falls away. The spider becomes something far richer, a small creature carrying an immense evolutionary story in every strand, step, and strike. What frightened people at first glance can become, on closer study, one of nature's finest achievements. As our journey through the world of spiders comes to a close, perhaps they feel a little different now. Not just as shapes in corners or silhouettes in webs, but as ancient hunters, master builders, patient drifters, and tiny survivors carrying millions of years of invention in every thread and step. We've wandered through moonlit webs and hidden burrows, across flower petals and pond edges, into caves, deserts, forests, and even the open sky. We've seen spiders that dance, spiders that fish, spiders that raise their young with astonishing care, and spiders that turn silk into traps, lifelines, shelters, and signals. And maybe that world feels larger now, a little stranger, a little more beautiful. The garden fence, the attic corner, the grass at dusk. They are no longer empty places. They are part of a living map filled with trembling threads, waiting hunters, and small lives unfolding just beyond the edge of our notice. Now, you can let all of that drift softly into the background. Let your breathing slow. Let your shoulders loosen. Let the images fade from bright detail into something softer and more distant, like dew shining on a web before dawn, then disappearing into the morning light. And if you enjoyed this journey, perhaps you might like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps other curious minds find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. And if you happen to still be awake, there'll be another video waiting for you on the screen. Another world to wander into, slowly and peacefully. But for now, let your mind grow still and let the day fall away. Sleep well and good night.